Hey everyone, welcome back to Iraqi Dinar News, where we bring you the latest updates, deep dives, and real talk about what's happening in the world of Iraqi dinar and global finance. Now, you might want to sit down for this one. The rumor mill is spinning fast today. Why? Because whispers are circulating that Chase Bank might be making moves behind the scenes that could shake up everything we think we know about the Iraqi dinar. Could the dinar be gearing up for a major comeback on the foreign exchange market? Could Chase's recent actions be the spark that ignites a chain reaction? Stick with us until the very end, because we're going to walk you through everything we know. Everything that's speculative, and what it all could mean for you. Whether you're holding dinar now, considering holding it, or just keeping an eye on the situation. Don't blink. This might be one of the most important updates of 2025. First, let's frame the story. Chase Bank is one of the biggest financial institutions in the U.S., handling massive volumes of currency deals, cross-border transactions, and global operations every day. So anytime a major bank like Chase even hints at changing its procedures around foreign currencies, people take notice. Over the last few days, there have been posts, discussions, and social media threads claiming that Chase is preparing for the Iraqi dinar. Internal memos, system updates, staff training, new counting machines, you name it, these claims are spreading fast, especially among dinar investors and speculative currency watchers. But before we rush to conclusions, we have to dig in. In this segment, we'll break down what claims are out there, which ones we can verify, which ones seem dubious, and where there might actually be smoke, not just fire. Let's begin with the claims we're hearing most often. The stories run along the lines of counting machines. Chase staff are being trained to accept dinar. Internal notices mention foreign currency changes. Or Chase is updating systems to accommodate Iraqi dinar deposits and exchanges. Some posts even stated there was increased activity at Federal Reserve facilities tied to dinar's reset and dinar operations. For many who already believe in a future revaluation, these signs sound like confirmation. But in reality, banks routinely upgrade equipment, perform software maintenance, and train staff for many kinds of changes, new currencies, regulatory shifts, anti-fraud upgrades, or internal audits. These are not unusual in large banking operations, and they don't immediately mean that Chase is about to reopen dinar trading. So what is verifiable at this point? As of today in 2025, there has been no public official announcement from Chase that they are going to accept or trade Iraqi dinar in the United States. We have not seen a press release, formal filing, or statement to customers confirming such a shift. Customer service agents, when asked, have reportedly given standard answers, non-committal and vague. No internal document has been reliably leaked and verified that explicitly names Iraqi dinar reintroduction as part of a rollout. So if you're putting together a case, you have zero confirmed proof so far. What we can say is that some branches around the world, especially in areas closer to Middle Eastern markets, occasionally handle exotic currencies, and banking institutions sometimes test systems for multiple currencies as a matter of readiness. Let's dig into what it would take for Iraqi dinar to re-enter Forex, foreign exchange markets, because understanding that helps us see whether what Chase might be doing is realistic or just wishful thinking. First, the Central Bank of Iraq would need to lift many of the restrictions that currently limit the dinar's international circulation. These include capital controls, regulatory barriers, foreign exchange approvals, and strict auditing of movement in and out of the country. Second, liquidity would need to be established, meaning significant volumes of dinar would have to be traded so that markets can function. Third, international banks, financial institutions, and Forex platforms would need to sign on, provide infrastructure, risk management, and accounting systems. Without all these in place, Lancer attempts to reintroduce dinar would likely fail or be extremely limited. Historically, reintroducing or stabilizing a currency on the global market isn't quick. Let's look at a few examples. When Kuwait's currency was reinstated after the Gulf War, It took years of careful coordination among government, central bank, and foreign partners. Systems had to be rebuilt, clearance procedures put in place, and international banks had to be brought into the loop. Even then, the process was gradual, not an overnight flip. Another more recent case is Zimbabwe, where currency reforms required stabilization, rebuilding trust, audits, and phased rollouts of new notes. These precedents show that any reintroduction of the dinar would likely be drawn out, cautious, and filled with regulatory checks. You don't just flick a switch. You need months, sometimes years of prep. Now let's place Chase Bank's potential involvement in that realistic timeline. Even if Iraq starts moving toward re-entry of the dinar into Forex, major foreign banks like Chase would need regulatory clearance, internal risk assessments, compliance checks, software and systems upgrades, staff training, and coordination with central banks in Iraq. They wouldn't jump in full force overnight. Likely, any service they offer would begin small, limited dinar exchange for select clients, pilot programs offering dinar as a niche foreign currency product, or handling only certain volumes. Over time, they could scale up if the market and demand were strong. So if Chase is doing something, it would probably be behind the scenes for now, cautious and low volume. Let's assess some red flags and warnings. Because the dinar revaluation community has been active for years, rumors and misinformation are rampant, fake or outdated. Internal memos get circulated. People claim a friend of a friend inside a bank told them something. Some deals advertise exclusive early access to revalue dinar. Be wary of any claims that sound too good to be true, guarantee sky-high returns, or pressure you to act fast. Also, conjure a serious problem. Some dealers have sold fake or depreciated notes as real or promising. Always verify authenticity. In short, do not accept hearsay as fact, demand verifiable documentation, cross-check multiple sources, and rely on official communications. Next, let's think about realistic scenarios for the dinar's future. One possibility is a slow and partial reintroduction. The Iraqi government begins relaxing restrictions, limited traders and banks begin handling dinar, and over time it gains some presence in regional Forex. Chase and other bid banks might offer small-scale services. In that scenario, returns would be modest at first, with volatility. Another scenario is a strong revaluation or surge. If economic reforms succeed rapidly, foreign investment picks up, and global confidence is restored. That could lead to a sharp boost in value, but it also invites risks, speculation, and potential instability. The third scenario is stagnation or further decline. If political turmoil or economic mismanagement continues, the dinar remains marginalized, potentially weakens further, or fails to gain traction globally. Many analysts believe the truth lies in between these extremes. Now, for those holding dinar right now, or thinking about acquiring more, what should your mindset and strategy be? First, treat it as a highly speculative position, not a guaranteed windfall. Be mentally prepared that the investment might stay flat or even lose value for a long time. Only risk capital you can afford to lose. Second, diversify. Don't put all your hope into dinar. Consider spreading risk across more stable assets. Third, monitor updates from the Central Bank of Iraq, the government, official releases, financial regulators, and major banks like Chase. Fourth, avoid engaging with suspicious dealers or schemes. Fifth, document everything you buy, get serial numbers, purchase receipts, verification from credible third parties. Let's return to the specific claims about Chase. Some say Chase branches are receiving upgraded machines, counting gear that handles many currency denominations. Others claim staff are being briefed on dinar transactions. Some mention internal memos flag with foreign currency changes. One more claim is increased movement at Federal Reserve centers in relation to dinar holdings. These are the signals people latch onto. But those same signals could be caused by other factors: upgrades to anti-fraud detection, global currency compliance dates, new international banking regulations, or updates to software. Also, banks periodically test their systems for readiness in many currencies, even if they don't plan to roll them out immediately. So in isolation, none of these signals prove a dinar relaunch. Let's also consider that banks are secretive by necessity. Even if Chase is planning something, they likely would not broadcast it until plans are firm. Competition, regulatory scrutiny, and market reactions all make early public announcements risky. It's entirely possible that internal planning, feasibility studies, and pilot phases are underway, and everyone outside Chase and maybe a few insiders remains unaware. If that's true, we may see gradual reveals, test cases, discrete product launches, or pilot services in foreign branches first. So some of what's happening might never be public until the moment it's ready to roll out. A key question: what incentives would drive Chase to move forward with dinar services? For them, profit, customer demand, and competitive positioning matter. If enough clients begin asking for dinar exposure, or if projections show rising demand, Chase may want to get first mover advantage. Also, involvement in exotic currencies or emerging markets can enhance a bank's global portfolio. Their strategic appeal for Iraq's economy were to recover, and the dinar were to appreciate strongly. However, the risks: volatility, counterparty risk, regulatory exposure, compliance with U.S. and international laws are significant. For Chase, any entry into dinar services must be justified by projected revenue outweighing those risks. Another important dimension is regulatory and compliance hurdles. U.S. banks dealing in foreign currencies must adhere to strict rules: anti-money laundering's AML and Know Your Customer, KYC, OFACs of foreign assets control rules if there are sanction issues, reporting standards, legal clearance, internal audits, due diligence. For the dinar, which has a history tied to conflicts, sanctions, and irregular capital controls, this is especially sensitive. So for Chase to step into dinar operations, they would need to ensure full compliance with all legal frameworks, possibly coordinate with U.S. and Iraqi regulators, and manage potential political risk. That adds time, cost, and exposure. Let's shift a bit and look at what's happening inside Iraq that could support or stall a revival. The Iraqi government has been working on economic reform initiatives, trying to diversify beyond oil, working with international bodies like IMF, updating banking infrastructure, reducing corruption, improving transparency, and restructuring public finances. These are all steps that could bolster confidence in the dinar's future. But progress is uneven, political instability remains, regional tensions persist, and internal strife could derail reforms. Even if leadership is committed, the path is rocky. For the dinar to return to global Forex, internal conditions must stabilize significantly, not just in policy but in execution. From the perspective of the average investor in 2025, whether you already hold dinar or are watching from the sidelines, here's how to navigate. Stay updated, follow credible financial news, central bank announcements, and regulatory filings. Be skeptical, filter out sensational claims. Use due diligence when dealing with any dinar transactions. Document authenticity, keep dinar exposure small relative to your broader portfolio, have an exit plan, and be patient. If a revaluation or reintegration into Forex happens, it won't be instantaneous across all platforms. Phases, pilot programs, partial access, those are more realistic. Prepare for a long journey, not an overnight breakout. To circle back to our title question, Iraqi Dinar back on Forex? Chase Bank move spark major speculation? The truth is, we are seeing speculation, not confirmation. There are pieces that could hint at preparatory work, but nothing we can verify yet. There is no official Chase statement making it real, but there could be internal planning behind closed doors. Whether that's enough to count on is another matter. At this stage, those whispers are signals to hot, not green lights to act. The possibility remains open, but the hurdles are real and significant. So here we are, deep in the rumor mill but still grounded in caution. If Chase Bank is making moves toward Iraqi dinar services, it would be a bold development, but one tempered by a long path ahead. For now, there's no bombshell confirmation, only speculative sparks, but that doesn't mean you shouldn't pay attention. This may be the moment where things begin shifting, slowly, but surely. We'll be right here tracking every reliable update, analyzing every announcement, and helping you separate fact from fantasy. If you found this breakdown helpful, Go ahead and hit like, subscribe, and ring the bell so you don't miss future updates. Drop your thoughts in the comments. Do you believe Chase is preparing to reintroduce dinar? Have you heard anything credible? Let's talk. Until next time, keep your eyes open, your skepticism sharp, and your strategy smart.